No, we're good.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Thank you so much for watching our live stream of the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
You noticed last week that we didn't do one. That's because we had kind of a little joking around episode. It was Halloween, and we wanted to get into the spirit, like most of the holidays that we do. We had a Halloween themed show. It was conspiracy theories, and I want to disclose again, if you do listen to AM 560,
The Answer.
that we don't necessarily believe we don't necessarily hold truths.
Did we really talk about stuff that that you need that disclaimer? You think? Were we really talking about bad stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Really? You're going to ask that now? All right. Yeah, jokester you are. Anyway, we just want to make a disclaimer that we necessarily don't believe the conspiracy theories that we were saying.
Necessarily,
but we don't believe the conspiracies. Can you say some legal stuff that'll cover my rear end?
I just did. I'm trying to think of something.
That's what I'm trying to say. We don't necessarily. The opinions expressed on this show don't necessarily reflect our opinions on the subject.
That's very true.
Are fiction and do not represent.
We were
fact.
just trying to have fun with the show. So anyway,
we talked about a lot of them last week too.
I know we did. That's why I'm trying to cover bases.
And we also not only did we talk a lot about it, but they it kind of we gave a lot of our personal opinions on there. Not necessarily true. No, I'm just kidding. It is the election year where we're used to viewing things on television that aren't always 100% accurate. It kind of amazes me, these ads. It's just, and they're everywhere for everyone all the time. Man, try to have some other. They're bidding up. No wonder why they spend so much on campaigns. They bid up the cost of advertising on the radio and on television to such an extent. This JB Pritzker is everywhere. Try to go down on your Facebook page and not see JB Pritzker on your Facebook
Doesn't
page.
matter. Take a look at both of them, Bruce Rauner and JB Pritzker. Somebody brought up a great point.
I see a lot more JB Pritzker.
Yes, I do too. Somebody brought up a great point. How much does the governor's office pay?
I understand. It's amazing.
And how much are they spending to get?
I agree.
It really is unbelievable.
I agree.
So that just goes to show
it's kind of scary. Why would you spend $20 million or more than that
on a job that pays $150,000 a year, $300,000 a year?
It ain't $20 million.
No.
So, and I think it's a lot more than that.
Because you know why?
Why? Power. I have the money. I've got all the money I want. I got all the business I want. What else can I need? Power. I already have power with the money. With money comes power, but not But then you also want celebrity. I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy who. Whatever. I was going to say something about toilets.
What is our blog segment?
The blog is I'm going to talk about. Installment agreements and how you might not need an attorney to help you. Okay, because you might not need an attorney. Doesn't mean you shouldn't call me.
And the question today?
But I asked you, what was the question? I forgot about the question.
We have the two on your phone.
Yes.
What if you only owe the IRS a small amount
yes.
of money?
Do I need an attorney to help me? Did I already answer that question?
Yes, you have. You have the two questions on there. That wasn't the question.
Okay. I'll look at the question.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember the show is sponsored by Open Tax Resolutions, 312-664-6664, and to visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. We hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday out there.
If you do a free report for me, will the IRS know?
Yes.
That makes sense. That's the question I always get, that people are afraid. Well, if you pull my report.
A credit report?
No, they're if you pull the transcripts. With the transcripts, this is what I offer on Joe Walsh's and on. Oh, I wanted to also mention to you, Deborah. They played the same commercial again last week. I'm just telling you. I know that you did all you could to bring it to their attention, but they keep playing the same commercial.
I can fix it, but I don't have the music, so it will sound funky if the music is going and then it cuts out and it's just
I understand.
for a
But
small-
again, we did fix it. I went next door with the guy next door and they changed it. But now it's got to be changed again anyway. So maybe I'll do a new commercial. And
you should just say 2018 tax return.
Yeah. Maybe I just do another commercial.
Yeah, recorded a brand new one.
That's I think I'll do.
Mix it up.
I should do that anyway. And it's like Joe Walsh does the same commercial for me all that. But sometimes I kind of like the same thing over here. Saying the same thing again. But anyway, I'll do a new commercial whenever you're ready.
Pursuant to Internal Revenue Service guidance, be advised that any federal tax advice contained in this program is not intended to be used, and it cannot be used by any person or entity for the purpose of avoiding any tax penalties that may be imposed by the Internal Revenue Service or any other U.S. federal taxing authority or agency, or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any transaction or matter addressed in this show. The opinions expressed by the host and the guests are their own and may not be used as authoritative advice. Any use of this material without the written consent of the host is strictly prohibited.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, on AM 560, The Answer. Tune in every week at 5 for an informative discussion about IRS obligations, credit card debt, mortgage default, collection activity, and how to resolve these legal issues using tax resolution, debt settlement, mortgage loan modification, foreclosure defense, and bankruptcy. Your host is Stephen Leahy, and the principal at Open Tax Resolutions and the law office of Stephen Leahy, PC. Stephen is the author of Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. IRS and debt issues are serious, but there is help. There are resolutions. So get ready and take notes during the IRS Radio Hour. And now, here's your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Hello, Chicago voters. We are coming to you from Studio C at AM 560, The Answer. This is the IRS Radio Hour.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The show is sponsored by the law office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, and Open Tax Resolutions.
God bless you, Open Tax Resolution.
Open helps people solve IRS problems. We help people with audits and levies, liens and garnishments, collections, unfiled tax returns, and payroll tax issues. We also help people with mortgage foreclosures, loan modifications, bankruptcy, and other debt-related issues. So if you have any of these issues, or if you know someone who does, you should give me a call at 312-664-6649. Again, that number is 312-664-6649, or visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. I want to welcome our technical producer, Deborah Schreiner.
Hey guys, good to see you.
Good to see you. Hope you had a wonderful Halloween. I
did.
I know we did too. So when I say we, I'm talking about my nephew, my co-host, my very good friend and realtor, Jim Leahy.
Hello, fellow American. You should vote me. I leave power. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Deborah Schreiner, best in the business. I absolutely love that beginning because one of the best shows ever written. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That is true. I will stand by that comment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
And not only is this show sponsored by Open Tax Resolutions, it is
What else?
Sponsored.
Not only is it sponsored,
but it is sponsored.
It is
Anyway,
sponsored.
Open Tax Resolutions here for you, ladies and gentlemen, not for just audits, levies, liens, garnishments, but also a myriad of other tax-related issues. So give those good folks a call today, 312-664-6649, or visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your hub. I was expecting you to chime in there, Deborah.
Jim,
to help fight the IRS.
Jim used a new word a couple of weeks ago.
Myriad.
No, he uses it all the time. That's good.
Am I saying it correctly?
I
Myriad,
believe so.
myriad.
I've heard it both ways.
I've heard it both ways too. I don't think let's not get picky here.
Well, it is true when you learn a new word, you should use it.
Yes.
No,
I have a very colorful vernacular.
well,
I learned that
a lot
one
of
too.
those vernacular.
Stop, yeah.
So a lot of those words you can't use on the radio.
Exactly.
So, George Carlin had a bit about that, the 7 words you can't use. But let's do our segment.
The news roundup.
Review and comment on the news.
We got a lot going on this week, ladies and gentlemen. Before we continue, though,
What's the biggest news, though?
Before we continue, we do here at the IRS Radio Hour, and I will speak forward for Salem Broadcasting too, in AM 560, The Answer, that we send our condolences to the Jewish community out in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
That is a terrible, heinous act, and we stand with those affected.
The week goes by so quickly, but that would happen last weekend, I believe.
And it really,
Oh, it was during services, Saturday services. That's right.
It's just so
Amazing.
I don't know what else can be said.
And again, I think
what's
more what the most amazing part is the humanity that comes out with these tragedies, and that the gentleman who, I shouldn't call him a gentleman, the monster who committed these acts, who saved his life. Those in the congregation, the doctors and nurses in the congregation who saved that man's life. Unbelievable. The what comes out in this bad situation, and they still help the guy. It's amazing.
It really is, and we just wanted to.
God bless him.
We just wanted to share that too. Again, we stand with those affected. So, and also the Jewish community as a whole. So, going forward with that, we have the migrant caravan coming up from the south. It's almost like watching a weather report, isn't it? So if you take a look here,
it's down. We used to have 10,000. Now there's only 4,000.
Did it decrease in numbers?
They tell us it is. I don't know. Every time I look it on the news,
is it even real? That was a conspiracy theory last week.
It's the same. It's the same shots they're showing. It looks like the same. Same road that they're showing this filled with people. I don't know. I guess they had them on some people had paid for buses to go get them and bring them up. And do we talk about this segment about them, about the 6 or 7 of them have filed suit against the president of the United States, violating their civil rights? It's like, wait a minute, you're not even in our country yet. You don't have constitutional rights. Our immigration, it is true when politicians say that our immigration system is broken, that's true. The way they want to fix it, they being the left, and the way I think it should be fixed, 2 totally opposite ways. Okay?
But American history, if you take a look into it, Americans are great at compromise. That's.
Well, I don't know if there's again, the compromise should be, we have a law, let's change the law. The compromise is, let's not enforce this law. We'll enforce that one.
That's the issue
we'll
that
enforce
we're
that
having
one.
here. And that's the whole point we brought up about with the IRS. For all you avid IRS Radio Hour listeners, we used to have a segment called the IRS Saga. And that's the whole point, is because they're not enforcing the law. They would enforce it for some, but for others, they turn the other cheek and they just forget about it. No,
and this was our beef.
Wrong.
That was always my beef about Obama, and that he would enforce some laws and not enforce others. And again, immigration was the big one, but even if you let it, the laws allow, once someone comes in and they claim, and this is what's going on, right? You have all these lawyers down there, and this is true, handing out scripts, what they have to say in order to qualify for amnesty. So, for instance, they were interviewing some woman on there, and she was saying, "Well, I had 6 kids. I took 2 of them when we left. I want to get a better job." Well, what one of the announcers was saying, "Well, she just blew her amnesty, right? Because you can't come here because you want a better job. That's not reason for amnesty." Okay, you have to say you were persecuted or you're afraid. You can't say, "I just heard that there was better jobs here, so I want to come here." That's not. I'm not saying them. I'm saying asylum.
But that's
I'm sorry, asylum.
Asylum. I understand what you're saying, and good thing you clarified that too. One of the things that really is we brought up before too is that people are using it as such a political function. On both.
Yes.
It really is discussed. People don't care. There are people that are going through this. These are people that are being,
and I think
regardless
I agree with you, and I think it is a political.
They're getting used. It is political.
They're being used. Hey, let's get these people up here. And as I said, it would be one thing if they said, "Well, we really want them to come in, and we want to give them homes and get them a better job and give them a better life." But really, what they want, that they do, and those people that are telling them to come, they want confrontation. Somebody's going to get hurt. And I think that's what they want. They want these people to get hurt. So then it will make a better political statement for them.
It's like that show on AMC, Hell on Wheels. There's a Native American raid on settlers going west, and a politician shows up, and the cameras are news. They're taking a picture, and for those who don't know, it's an old cowboy show, or it's a cowboy
I'm
show.
not familiar with it.
Anyway, they're taking pictures, and the politician comes, and goes, "What's going on? How dare you desecrate? What is wrong with you? Don't you have any morals?" And he goes up to the dead bodies, and he starts sticking more arrows in the body. He goes, "You have to make it look worse than that. Come here, pile the bodies on, make it look worse." And that's just that's exactly what they do.
But again, here people, real people are going to get hurt, and this is a problem.
I know this is an issue, and there's children there too, and that's the scariest part. Women, children.
And again, the scary part is that it'll be the best thing for them is that some child gets hurt because they'll use it for political purposes, and so they want a child to get hurt.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you listened to our show last week, it was our conspiracy theory show. Again, we don't necessarily hold those beliefs on those conspiracy theories. We just were trying to have fun with it with the Halloween segment. But this show, This show is content driven. For example, the blog report this week we're going to be talking about.
I'm going to talk about people who may not need an attorney to solve their IRS problems.
And then we have, we're going to be talking a little bit of, not necessarily Trump, but we're going to talk about, since the election is coming up, we're going to talk about what's going on in Illinois. Mm-hmm. Also, too, we have the Mr. Know-It-All segment where Attorney Stephen Leahy is going to address a question that really everybody should know if they're having issues when it comes to the IRS. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, great show lined up for you today. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is here for you. 312-664-6649 and visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with DAP Properties, 847-271-3695. Let's start thinking about tomorrow. Today. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's not too early to start thinking about 2019 and your move. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Listen to our sponsors. Come right back on AM 560. The Answer.
Nice, Jim. That was nice, Jim.
Pardon me.
What's wrong?
I don't have a mute button here. Yes, the sound is working. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can catch us every Sunday at 5 on that said station, AM 560, The Answer. Also, too, you can catch our live stream every Friday. What you're going to be seeing, too, is you're going to be seeing not only are we going to be doing a live stream here on YouTube of the IRS Radio Hour, we're going to be doing another show coming up. It's going to be called the Trust Radio Network. Oh, yeah. More information as it becomes available. We're going to be giving away little teasers as the month goes on of November. That way you guys can get informed.
Can we give them a teaser who might be our first guest?
Yes.
Who might be our first guest? That the infamous David Hochberg.
That's right. David Hochberg with Pearl Mortgage with Team Hochberg. Is going to be our first guest. It's going to be a great show, very informative, and hey, you might
Nobody knows more about mortgages than David Hochberg.
That is true. That is true. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's what we're trying to, right? The whole show is about people you can trust. And no one's more upfront and trustworthy, in my opinion, than David Hochberg.
And that is something I agree with. Having worked with David, being a realtor, having worked with David, I can say.
So we're trying to find local people who you can trust with important financial and other issues in your life. Because it's hard sometimes to find. Who do you call? You call the Rocket people? I mean, because they advertise so much. You call Guaranteed. Oh, okay. Anyway, you don't call people. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, watch it.
I get it. Okay.
Come on. Look at you getting caught up. See, this is
I get it.
Listen, a year ago, history was made in Chicago.
Well, 2 years ago.
The Chicago Cubs. Oh, yeah, 2 years ago. Well, history was made last year, and no, it wasn't.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Chicago Cubs won the World Series on this date.
Let's do this.
Which is November 2nd.
I remember what I wanted to do the whole next segment on, and that's what we're going to do. I said about some people don't need a lawyer to help them, and I'm going to start there. But then I'm going to talk about people who probably do need
I wanted to bring that up, too, because I'm working right now with a client, and we brought this up, and he brought it up. Why do we necessarily need realtors? Why do you need that third party? And as we're going through a deal, I kind of say, he looked at me and goes, oh, that's why I need a third party. Yeah, it helps alleviate the pressure, because then you guys can start yelling.
Some states you don't need a lawyer.
No.
I think you do need a lawyer. And I think in those other states, when I've seen them like in a show, when they're in California, for instance, and they sit down with somebody and they're going to explain to them what these contracts are, that's practicing law without a license.
Exactly.
I don't know why they allow that to happen.
I always make sure I go forward and tell my clients, hey, if you have any questions regarding this contract, consult an attorney. I can give you. I'll just say sign here, but consult your attorney,
so
please.
Let's say I'm buying a home for $300,000.
Okay.
300,000. That's a lot of money. So whatever
yes.
it costs you to hire a lawyer, it's a really minuscule. And as a buyer, right, you don't even pay your realtor. Your realtor is helping you. He's going to get paid from the seller. And so if you're trying to buy a home, you need to call Jim, and he can help you do this, okay? Because there's lots of moving parts, and you need to coordinate all those moving parts in order to make the deal go down.
Exactly, and that's why we work with, and we started a new show, the Trust Radio Network,
right.
and this circle of within the sphere of influence, which is those professionals that we're going to be having on the show. I have connections with people from, let's say, fixing a basement and crawl space to home loans, to attorneys, to different title companies. Listen, I can get you to the point where people that I'm connected with are trustworthy, and we'll get the job done. So anyway, remember, ladies and gentlemen, Opum Tax Resolution is a sponsor of that show, and they're the most trusted ones out there in the Chicagoland area. 312-664-6649.
You can call Jim too.
You can call me too, and I'll get you guys connected to 847-271-3695. Jim Leahy with @Properties out here in Chicago and the northern suburbs. Remember, let's start thinking about tomorrow. Today, 2019 is right around the corner. It's time to start thinking about it.
Yes, it is. Okay.
My hair is on fleek.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I just heard the word fleek.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back. I am your host, attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560. The Answer. Here with Deborah Schreiner, Jim Leahy, having a lot of fun. Want you to join us every week to have fun with us.
That's right. If you guys aren't able to join us on Sunday at 5, which you're listening to right now, and let's just say you're just scrambling through and you heard us, you can always catch us Friday afternoons because we record Friday, show airs Sunday. And you can go on the law office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, or just type in Stephen Leahy, and you'll be able to see on YouTube, our YouTube account, and we do a live stream. That way you can ask questions and we can answer them live, but we're not live for you this evening, as this Sunday at 5.
Sunday at 5.
Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's the blog segment. It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
And the blog segment is, as we do every week, I talk about what's going on in my office. Okay, and this is where people always ask me this: why do I need an attorney? There's lots of these companies out there. There's some, there's CPAs. We've talked about it on this show sometimes. Why you shouldn't use a CPA to do this kind of work. There's also other companies out there. They call them enrolled agents. They're not attorneys. They're not CPAs. They just have been certified by the IRS. And for some people, that's the right people to pick. I think sometimes if they're cheap. but the thing is, when you start talking about attorney, so I get a call, I got 2 or 3 calls this week about people who owe less than $10,000. So they hear me on the radio, they look me up on Google, and so they give me a call because they don't know what to do. What do? I owe $7,500. I had a guy call, another one about $10,000. What do I do? And I tell them, that's not the kind of case you should hire me for, because I can help you. So for instance, the gentleman that owed $7,500, he's making about $75,000 a year. He's separated from his girl, and they don't have any children left in the house. So the answer is that gentleman's going to have to pay the $7,500. Okay, but what I told him was this: if you owe less than $10,000 to the IRS, there's what they call a automatic payment plan. So they won't deny you. You just call them up and you tell them, hey, I want to get on a payment plan. Take what you owe, divide it by 72, because they'll allow you 72 months to repay, or sometimes they'll do 60. So because 5 years, right? Sometimes they want it 5 years, sometimes they want it 6 years, and propose it and say, I want to pay, so I owed $7,500. I want to pay $125 a month. Now my advice to you is pay it off more quickly if you can, because they're charging you interest. They're always going to charge you interest. And so one of the things that people, when they hire a lawyer, they think, well, can you stop the interest? The answer is no, because the IRS wants their money. You owe them the money. You're not paying them. They want interest. Now, reality is
it's almost like asking the mob, hey, can we knock some interest off here, please? Can you not charge that?
That's right. It's it is. And the answer is, but here, sometimes we work out agreements where you're not going to pay the interest. Okay, you still owe it, but maybe the statute of limitations is going to go away, or maybe we do an offer in compromise, and they compromise for less. So there's sometimes that I'm not going to pay that interest, but they're still charging you until they come up with an agreement. Okay, and so if in this case, what I just described to you, this gentleman's going to owe, he's going to have to pay. So my advice would be pay as soon as you can, but make your monthly obligation as small as you can. So if you're having a cash flow problem, you can always pay the $125. If you want to pay them $5,000 in one lump sum, you can do that. They'll take the money and they'll knock down what you owe. But my advice would be to make the payment as low as you can, in order that you never have a problem making the payment. Because if you don't make the payment, they're going to knock you out of the agreement. And if they knock you out of the agreement, that's when they're going to start coming after you, start taking things away from you.
Then you're pretty much back to square one.
That's right.
Before, and it's kind of, again, representation is key. That's what we keep bringing up here on this show, is make sure you have representation, be it getting an attorney, especially in these situations. I mean, it's cost versus risk. What's the risk if I do it myself? Oh, I can go to jail. Well, is that worth it to you to stay out of jail?
Now let me talk about an instance where you probably do need an attorney. Okay. When you're talking to a revenue officer and that revenue officer is not helping you, and they're trying to railroad you, and this happens a lot, this one you have to get an attorney. Okay. And because there are ways to get around that revenue officer, but some of these revenue officers believe that they're in control and you're going to do whatever they tell you to do. And in reality, the IRS has a manual that tells how these cases are supposed to be handled, and you have certain appeal rights. So I have an appeal what they call a cap appeal, and that one of my clients was denied an installment agreement. We proposed an installment agreement. We put the numbers out there, showed them what it was. They said, well, we don't agree with those. We want you to pay much, much more than that a month. And so I can appeal. Okay. And while I'm appealing the decision, they can't start garnishing my wages or taking away my bank account or anything like that while I'm in appeal. And many times the people that you go to on appeal are much more reasonable to deal with, because they don't have this personal relationship where there might be some sort of animosity between you and that revenue officer, because the revenue officer's used to getting their way. And if you push back, they don't like when you push back. They want you to do what they tell you to do. Well, sometimes you can't do what they tell you to do. And this is when you need a lawyer to step in and come between you and this revenue officer. And another time when you need a lawyer, I owe a lot of money and I can't pay it. Well, then you better get a lawyer, because they're not going to let you. They're not going to allow you to not pay it. They're going to want you to pay all that you owe in a monthly payment that's sometimes much more than you can afford. Then you need to get an attorney. Okay, so again, if you owe a lot of money and you're having problems with the revenue officer, get an attorney. If you can't pay, even if it's a small amount of money and you can't pay it, that's when you have to get an attorney. If it's a small amount of money and you can pay it, you don't need an attorney. Call them up. They have this automatic payment plan. You can call, and you can even do this even under, again, the $10,000 is what they call an automatic installment agreement. But if you owe less than $25,000 and you're making a fairly good living and you can pay it, well, then call. You don't need anybody to help you do that. I can help you, and I'd be happy to do it. Sometimes people don't want to stand on the phone for 3 hours or 4 hours or more at a time, and so it's worth it to them to have someone that knows what they're doing to come up with an agreement for you. And I can do that too. And
it's
again,
kind of the same thing with selling a home, buyers selling a home, and I don't mean to just jump in there, but it is kind of the truth too, or going through getting the right people to come and fix your basement, or getting the right people to come and do the air clean. Well, you can do it yourself.
Well,
yeah, but what
that's
does it
true.
cost?
And they have,
that's where I'm trying to get.
They have the buyer. They have buy by owner, sell by owner.
Exactly, and you could do it yourself.
And you can always you could give yourself an appendectomy or whatever. Okay.
That has happened.
I understand.
That has
you
happened.
could do it. It's not preferred. It's not recommended. Okay. Same thing with
there was a doctor that gave brain surgery.
You could do it, but you might not be happy with the results.
That's exactly right. Okay, so again, but I'll tell you this: if you have a question, no matter what you owe the IRS, if you have a question, because I can tell you this: if you call me with a question and you don't need a lawyer, I'm going to tell you don't need a lawyer. I'm not going to try to sell you something you don't need. That doesn't help me, and it doesn't help you. And really, my goal is to help you. Yeah, in the end, I have to stay in business, but I do that by helping people, and I want to help you. And so, no matter what you owe the IRS, call me first. I'll tell you what can be done at 312-664-6649. Again, that's OPM Tax Resolutions, 312-664-6649. You have a question. Do I need a lawyer? Call me. I'll tell you if you need a lawyer.
Well, that's great advice. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't hurt to give a call. It doesn't hurt to, weigh the risks. I mean, is it going to be worth the headache if I do it myself, or is it going to? I mean, maybe I could do it, but listen, just call Open Tax Resolutions. They'll point you in the right direction. 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the IRS Radio Hour. I am Jim Leahy with App Properties, 847-271-3695. Let's start thinking about tomorrow, today. And let's start thinking about listening to our sponsors for this great radio station, and then coming on back here on AM 560, The Answer.
Very good, Jim.
No, that was a very great segment, Attorney Stephen Leahy. And, that's the one thing that we as consumers need to really start, because everything's just so in your face these days. Like, just tell me. It's just so everything's at a push of a button.
It is true that these outfits that are out there because they're very good at marketing. So if you find yourself that there's a lien filed against you with the from the IRS, there's these marketing companies that will inundate you with mail and telephone calls, and try to sell you. They're salesmen, so their job is sell you, and that's why you hear so much about these offers and compromise, because that's the easy sell. If someone calls you, you owe the IRS money, and says, "Would you like to pay them 10 cents on the dollar?" Well, yeah. Where do I sign up? And the problem is that you're going to sign up and you're not going to pay 10 cents on the dollar. For some people, now some people are going to get it, and then that makes sense. But anybody who tells you that they know how to solve your problem without knowing what the problem is, they got to be lying to you.
Exactly.
In my opinion. So we're going to do a Trump segment. Is that right, Deborah?
I thought we were going to be doing an Illinois segment.
We don't have an Illinois.
Well, we'll just start off with the Trump segment, then we'll just talk about what's going on with Illinois.
You do have an Illinois intro.
Well, do we?
Yeah.
I rant and rave. Yeah, that's where I was like, I put the challenge on.
Oh, it's about elections, so that's good.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I figured it'd be a good segment instead of the Trump,
Okay, well.
Rare East Asia duck. Central Park Pond. It's a mandarin duck. Look at that thing. It is so cool. Look at this thing. Look at that duck. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying out there. This is the IRS Radio Hour, heard on AM AM 560. The Answer. Going on Attorney Stephen Leahy's last segment. Why did you turn that off?
What did I turn off? I didn't.
Oh,
It's still on.
that was weird.
Why did you?
Okay,
turn it?
ready?
No. Let me do one thing before we go.
Okay.
Before I want to just upload this picture. Okay, so
Oh.
and that what I'm trying to upload is a picture of our candidates. And it's going to take a second to upload, but then we can go.
That's right. But
Tell
remember,
me when you're ready.
Okay.
it's the same as Attorney Stephen Leahy said. You can have these big box outfits call, and we can get you this. Pennies on the dollar. Look at, and they don't know your problem. They don't know your situation. Well, guess what? They're just selling you. Again, that's what Attorney Stephen Leahy was just talking about. It's the same with real estate. There's a lot of companies out there now that are offering extremely low broker's fees. But are you really getting the best bang for your buck? Are you really getting paid attention to? These people operate, or supposedly supposed to operate, in volume. Is that really going to work for you? Well, it ends up that if you take a look at the turnover rates for these companies, there's a reason why there's a lot of turnover rates. I'm not saying who is, who isn't, but there's a reason why, At Properties is one of the largest around. That's why I chose them. That's why we do. So that's why we're the largest in Chicago.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with Attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
And now, Jim Leahy's challenge for the people of Illinois.
I'm sick and tired of this, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to take this state back. I'm so sick and tired of these people. 40 years you've been in office, and look at where we're at. You think it's going to change another 40 years, ladies and gentlemen? You think any of this is going to change? I'm so done with this. I'm ready to go. Goodbye. Yeah, and I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go just silently.
Really?
I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that we can try to take this state back. The challenge is out there, ladies and gentlemen. The challenge is there for you.
The challenge is back. This is the IRS.
right.
This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560. The Answer. Here with Deborah Schreiner, Jim Leahy, AM 560. The Answer, already said that. But this is the election coming up on Tuesday. Now, we talked about early voting and what. So a lot of people have already voted. But Tuesday's the day.
That's it.
That's what we're going to find
Get
out what's going on.
Vote.
And I'm just amazed at what's going on with this election here. Now, Illinois is at, I don't even know if there's any real question about what's going on here. About who's going to win and who's not going to win.
You know who's going to win. We all know who's going to win. You think?
Well, that's the problem. Is that we all know who's going to win, and nobody's getting any. And I just put some, it's the Rauner Pritzker thing. And I think I'm no Bruce Rauner big fan of Bruce Rauner.
I'm not.
He's done things that I don't agree with, but to say he's 4 years of failure is a lie. Okay, it's a lie because we were failing way before Bruce Rauner.
And that is true. We really were. Listen, Bruce Rauner really hasn't done.
Of course, they tied his hands. They put him in a box, and they wouldn't let him out. And then they say he doesn't do anything. It just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly, entirely. And you know what? That's the thing that bothers me the most is the fact that he's just spewing hate. You know, the Pritzker commercials. He doesn't even say anything. It's all just look at how
he's terrible.
No policy, no policy. Like I'm not even going to pick on Pritzker. I'm not even going to because if you take a look at all the political commercials, you know what really gets me too is take a look who's in power.
And has been in power.
Take a look who's been in power and has been in power. Look at their commercials. Those are really professionally, perfectly shot. How much do you think that costs? Take a look at the guys running. You know, they're kind of running cheaper ads, you know.
I don't know, because Pritzker and Madigan are funding everybody.
I know they are.
They have this unlimited. It seems like an unlimited treasure war chest to go out against.
It's so sad.
And you know what's going to happen here? You know, we have. I think we have 7 Republicans in Illinois, and 5 of them are supposed to lose. So we're going to have 2 Republicans in the state. You know, the Democrats run everything, and so they've run all these congressional districts are all drawn.
Whatever.
What do you mean, whatever?
Because I put the challenge out.
We're in big trouble.
We are in big trouble. Guess what? I put the challenge out to the American people. Actually, I put the challenge out to those who came before me. Y'all created this mess. Y'all did. I'm looking right in the camera and saying it because I'm 28 years old. I try to do my part. I try to vote. I try to be active, and I'm sure a lot of you people out there are too. I'm saying y'all, but I'm talking the general public. I mean, everybody's mad. Look at you guys created this mess. You guys did that. You guys let them run wild. You guys let everybody have fun, eat from the pig trough, and now there's no food left, and all the pigs are squealing.
Well, what
are you going to do? How are you going to change it?
You know, I can blame the people before me, and you can blame the people before you.
I understand.
But in the end, it's everybody's fault. And you know, it seems like Illinois, the farther Illinois falls, the more they go to the people who made us fall, the people who come up with these policies that put us behind.
40 years in office,
and we're going to go. Let's try this. Let's put Pritzker in and raise everybody's taxes. Oh, that's going to
be the answer, right?
And here, let's. I want a graduated income tax only for people with money over $15,000. Well, that's everybody. You know, you saw, I don't know if you saw this, but 40% or something like that don't pay taxes in America. 40%. How many don't pay Illinois income taxes? A great deal of people.
What about the people that are trying to sell their home? Again, I try to do this because I'm real, but let's talk about that. What about the home prices that you people have out there? I mean, we're already, there are some areas where, oh my God, what do you think this is going to help them? No, ladies and gentlemen,
you're going to be caught with your home. You won't be able to sell it.
Oh yeah. You can't give it away.
Let's vote for Democrats. Okay, let's keep it.
Let's just do it. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep the machine going.
That. I know most people on this station maybe not, but I have hope, and one day we will change. I don't know
once we declare
probably not this time.
Once we declare bankruptcy,
we got to bring people back. And everybody's fleeing.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. 312-664-6649. If it's ChicagoTaxTeam.com, it's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with that. Properties 847-271-3695. Let's start thinking about tomorrow. Today. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 2019 is around the corner. Let's think about your move and let's talk. 847-271-3695. Listen to our sponsors. Come right back here on AM 560.
The Answer. I have to get better at my camera stuff.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. Remember, they're for you. I'm just trying to fill in time so we don't have dead air, but nobody's helping me here. So I'm going to keep talking as I look into
Open Resolution is there for you. It's here for you. Here, there, everywhere for you.
We have the. What are you watching now, Jim? We have the next segment's going to be the Mr. Know-It-All segment. What's the question I'm going to ask again, Jim? Oh, I know. You offer a free report. Won't that alert the IRS to?
That's right.
Won't that alert the IRS?
And that's a great question. Will it?
I get it every time. I get it all the time.
Let's do it.
To it. Do it till you're satisfied.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
I am the tax man. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with Deborah Schreiner, Jim Leahy, answering questions for...
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where attorney Stephen Leahy answers all those questions that burn deep inside when it comes to tax issues, such as, who do I call if I have a problem? We answered that earlier.
Yes, we did.
Attorney Stephen Leahy, 312-664-6649. But now here's the bigger question. If somebody pulls my transcripts, Attorney Stephen Leahy, does that alarm the IRS?
Well, that is a good question because here's
Can you explain what transcripts are first?
Okay, because here on this show, you'll hear some commercials, and on my friend Joe Walsh's show, you'll hear commercials where I offer a free report. And what happens is I pull these transcripts. The IRS has records of what's going on in your case. And those records will indicate how much you owe, how much they've charged you in interest, whether you filed those tax returns, whether you're in collections, when the statute of limitations is up, whether there's a lien against you. All of that information is placed on these in these transcripts. And so what the question I always get is, because people are afraid, they haven't contacted the IRS, and the IRS hasn't come after them. And so then that's when they start getting, well, I'm afraid to do anything because I don't want to alert the IRS that there's any problems, right? I don't want them to know. And so if you go in digging around in my information, won't that cause problems? Won't the IRS then come after me because now they know I know? And the answer is no, because what happens is we get this. We don't call the IRS and say, hey, John Smith wants his stuff. Can you send it to us? It's all done electronically. The IRS has a electronic transcript delivery system. And so we get into this as a third party, as an attorney. I can get into the system. They check all my credentials. I got to tell you that the IRS has really cracked down on privacy concerns. They have been hacked. So they've come up with these unbelievable privacy matters. And for me to get someone's transcripts, we have to jump through a lot of hoops to get them.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, they ask me things like what my birthday, my social security number, my birthday. They want this personal information from me to know that who's getting this information. So they're being very protective, as they should be. I always tell people that you're going to share a lot of personal information with me. Tax stuff doesn't get much more personal than that. Right, that's the most personal information you can get from someone.
Right next to the medical records.
And I think it's more because I think with your medical records, you can't steal stuff with a
teeth
with your financial data. They can set up accounts and steal your things and say that they're you. Okay, and that's why there's a big problem here. But again, I have to jump through all these privacy concerns, but it's all electronic. Okay, so they don't know. They don't know I'm good looking for John Smith stuff, and I can download all that stuff without anybody knowing, without alerting the IRS to anything, and get all of this information about you. Okay, so if you have a question, how much you owe? So I had a guy come in this week. He's for about 10 years now, he's owed the IRS money. Every year he owes a little bit more. He says, I file my tax returns every year. I might owe 1,000 here, 2,000 there. But, I'm getting worried they're going to start catching up with me. But I don't really know what it is that I owe. So I said, well, here's what we do. We're going to pull your transcripts. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure out what years you haven't filed, if you haven't filed the years, how much they say you owe. And once we find out how much you owe, then we could try to figure out, well, how can you pay it? and come up with a strategy to solve the problem.
Kind of like going on the first on the blog segment where we were talking about, continue.
Well, again, what's going to happen is you're going to ask for. We're going to get the information. We're going to be able to come up with a strategy to solve your problem. You can't solve the problem until you know what it is, and you don't know what it is until you do a thorough investigation to figure it out. And that's what that free report does. And so don't worry. Don't bother yourself that, this is going to make it worse for me because the IRS is going to come after me. First off, if you owe the IRS money, eventually they're coming after you. Okay, that's just the way
everybody
it is.
always thinks that they could just sit and hide.
And that's just
I'm off the radar.
I love that.
Don't worry about me.
I love that what you just said, the radar. I've been flying under the radar. No, you haven't. They don't have a radar. They have a computer system, and you're in it, and they know you owe money.
They know you owe money,
and it just takes that. They're a big bureaucracy, and it takes them a long time to get after you. So when we pull your report, I'll know if you have liens against you. I'll know if you're in collections. I'll know if they're coming after you. Okay, because sometimes you can owe them and you're not in collections, and that means you're not at any risk that they're going to freeze your bank account, for instance. But I'll know
I'm not
that.
at risk.
Yeah, well, but I'll know if you're at risk. And so, if you need a free report, then you can call me at 312-664-6664, and let's find out. Let's do the investigation. Let's figure out where you are. Let's help solve the problem.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. Not only they, but Open Tax Resolution is one of those trusted professionals that can really help you get to where you need to be. Remember, Open Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649. To visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com is going to be your hub to fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with That Properties. Let's start thinking about tomorrow. Today, what do I mean by that? Well, 2019 is coming around the corner. Let's see where your home place is in the market. I'll talk about that after the commercial break here on AM 560.
The Answer. We probably should do better teasers.
Me?
No, us, I said.
Oh, yes. I thought you were calling me out for saying that. Man uttering such vile canard.
Oh, I love that word.
He doesn't know what a vile canard means. How uncouth. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Remember, we can't be here without Open Tax Resolution. And their number is 312-664-6649. I'm Jim Leahy with That Properties. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate in northern Chicago, northern Illinois, you give me a call. 847-271-3695. My phone number and name is on the screen right here. Again, I'm with That Properties. What do I mean by that? By let's start preparing. Well, let's start using and preparing for the 2019 market. And generally what I mean by that is springtime is the big time for realtors. That's how a lot of people make their bread and butter is during the spring. You all right over there?
I'm good.
You okay?
Thank you.
You do have a cough.
I know, but I'm not really on the air. But I'm on the air.
I like
but I'm
it.
not really
I like
on
it.
the air.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we can prepare you
for
that
life.
moment of putting your home on the market. What we'll do is I'll give you a free CMA, comparative market analysis, to see where your home is placed in the market now. And generally, you could do a CMA down when it comes to springtime, but we're going to be using the same comparables anyway. We're getting into the winter season. It's getting kind of right before Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. A lot of people aren't out buying homes. It's kind of a down season just because everybody's focused on the holidays. Well, let's use those comparables that we're going to use anyway, and let's see where you are placed in the market. The only way you can do that is by giving me, Jim Leahy, a call, 847-271-3695. I can give you that free report, and we'll go from there. It's kind of like what you do, Attorney Stephen Leahy, except I do not practice law.
You better not practice law. I would call cops on you for practicing law without a license.
Oh, look at all this lightning. Look at this.
What is that?
I don't know. This is a storm.
Well, Jim,
in Australia. Look at that. That's a
what's the next shiny? What's that shiny object? I get distracted. I don't get distracted. I'm focused. That's what I do.
Like a laser beam.
Right.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this show up. IRS Radio Hours.
The only way we know how, Jim.
Which is stumbling, fumbling, bumbling. The reason why I say it is because we're going to Notre Dame Northwestern tomorrow night. Wow. Huge game.
That YouTube is really behind.
Yes. It is.
Not like the other one.
It is. Don't speak ill about YouTube. They'll kick you. They've done it to other people.
I know. They do it to
I'm
everybody.
surprised they haven't done it to you yet.
They've done it to everybody.
Because you're radical. You're radical.
I've tried to boost one of our posts, and they wouldn't let me. Because of the content. We were talking.
I just confirmed it on that schedule you gave me. That game is tomorrow.
Is that? Oh, it's on there too.
Yeah, he's got Illinois, Northwestern, and Notre Dame.
Ooh,
and the Bears.
The Bears. I like
Bears.
I like all three of those teams. Illinois, only because my boy goes down there. My son Jake took my son Joey down there last week. I know what they were doing.
How did that go?
Studying.
I'm sure they were studying. Yes.
Don't say it.
He got home okay.
That's good.
He's got all his appendages.
I saw some pictures that looked like they had fun. They went to a barn dance.
Well, that's quaint.
Did they do what I told
them?
It's
very Illinois, isn't it?
Did he do what I told him to do?
I don't know what you told him to do. Please don't tell me.
I will tell you off the air.
Well, let's do the last final segment.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am not your host, attorney Stephen Leahy, but I am your co-host, Jim Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
We guys hope you are having a wonderful time out there. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, open tax resolution helps people with a myriad of issues. Do you like that? Because it's a theme that we're going with this show. Anyway, 312-664-6649 or visit chicagotaxteam.com. Now, going back to the previous segment, and if you guys didn't catch the previous segment, you can go on YouTube, go look up the Law Office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, or go look up Stephen Leahy, and you'll be able to see a live stream that we do every Friday. Again, the show is recorded Friday, airs Sunday. I wanted to talk about where you're going to be placed in the market in 2019. What do I mean by that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now is the time to start thinking about spring. I know, come on, it's not even fall, but there are things that we can do to get in place to put your market or to put your home as the most competitive in the marketplace. That is giving you a free comparative market analysis to see where your home is placed in the current market, which anyway, we're going to be using the same comparables when we are hitting the spring market. Also, too, options on what we can do to improve the house, fresh coat of paint, maybe bring in a stager. There are things that can be done to set you up for success. Give me a call, Jim Leahy with that properties, 847-271-3695. Again, 847-271-3695. This is our sports segment. We wrap up this way. Attorney Stephen Leahy, do you think you had fun yesterday at Northwestern Notre Dame?
I think I had fun because we record on Friday, so I haven't been there yet. But I'm anticipating.
And it will be fun. Not have spoken
again.
About this.
I was there at the last time that when Northwestern went to Notre Dame.
Were you there really?
I was there with your father. It was a lot of fun, even though Notre Dame lost. But my second team is Northwestern. My first team is Notre Dame. My second team is Northwestern.
And your third is Loyola.
So they don't play football.
No, they don't.
They're going to be my number one.
Did you see?
They play basketball.
Yes,
Did you see Kentucky is ranked 9th?
I did not.
I don't know. Again, this is Sunday, so we don't. I mean, the games have already been played. But Kentucky was ranked. They're playing Georgia this weekend, which is ranked like 5th or 6th.
Oh, you think Georgia would clobber them?
Kentucky's playing great football.
Who's number 4?
We are.
Oh, we being Notre Dame.
I'm sorry. We like I go there.
My dad was a big Irish fan.
My dad was a big Irish fan.
Your dad was a big Irish fan. It's always been we never really had back in the day, right? Northwestern really wasn't they had a football team. But your dad and I lived in Evanston when they won a game for the first time in 40 games or something like that, and it was exciting. They tore down the goalpost, and we thought your dad and I thought it was going to be the most fun we ever had in a college town. 5 o'clock, everybody went home and studied. Okay, it was done. They were done.
I think it'll be.
It's like that. That's why all your brainiacs go to Northwestern, isn't that right, Deborah?
Yes, I can
Alumni,
verify that.
So we know who Deborah's rooting for this weekend.
Go NU.
That's her team.
That's right. Well, I went either way.
That's right.
like it. It's a Chicago-based team. I got to go for. But
I don't know. Have you
Notre
been to
Dame.
Northwestern's game? Have you ever been?
Of course, many times.
I have to. Yeah,
many times actually. I was there when Colorado beat the number 1 ranked team that couple years ago. It was like 3 years ago.
Northwestern.
It wasn't Northwestern. No, it wasn't Northwestern, but it was that same day. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed our show. Remember, the IRS Radio Hour and Open Tax Resolution is there for you. Give those good folks a call at Open 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your help. Don't fight the IRS. My name's Jim Leahy with That Properties. Let's start thinking about tomorrow today. 847-271-3695. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and join us again next week. But also listen to great programming here on AM 560.
The Answer.
You know, the 50-day forecast doesn't call for snow.
Thanks
you guys so much for tuning in. Remember, AM 560, The Answer, has great programming on there.
Join us next week. We always have a lot of fun, so join us next week.
That's right.
And we're off because I got to get out of here.
Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.